Hi everyone, thank you for stopping by and watching my video. I appreciate it so much. In this video, I will show you what I do with fresh tomato, one of the great deal I got from the farmers market. Please keep watching. First, I blend the tomato. Second, I pour it inside the pot to bubble to cook, because I want the water to dry so I can have a tomato paste. Depending on the quantity of tomato you are cooking, it may take longer, but this probably take me like 20 minutes for it to dry up so I can get my tomato paste. Sometimes this is another thing I do to get the water off the tomato quicker so I can get the paste texture that I'm looking for. So I will pour the tomato inside something like this sieve so that the water will drain. So after the water drain, I will exactly get the kind of paste texture I'm looking for so I can make my stew with it. So meanwhile, while I'm getting the tomato ready, I go ahead and season my meat. To make my stew, I use any kind of meat I want, but today I will be using chicken. Sometimes I use beef. I add some goat meat and some fish with it, but today I think I will be using chicken and fish. So first thing I do is that I season my my meat with different type of herbs as much as I want. I use oregano, parsley, thyme leaf, semi-pouring it. I use Maggi cube. I use rosemary. I use any type of herbs. So when you're cooking your meat, you're allowed to season it to your taste. Okay, just make sure you season the meat so well. So after I season it, I cover the meat, let it boil for until it gets tender. It depends on how tender you want your meat, but I like my meat cooked well, so I let it cook for about 12 minutes because I still have to put it inside the stew, so I don't want it to be too soft. I want it to cook just a boil for 12 minutes, then I turn the light off. So the next thing I will do is, since the tomato is ready, I will start making the stew in another pot. Frying the tomato. It's like I stir fry the tomato with a little egg oil. Okay, since I'm still frying the oil, I heated the oil and I put in chopped onion inside it. It's a chopped onion. Chopped onions. I stir fry it for about 5 minutes. And then I will add the prepared tomato inside it and stir fry it together. At the same time, I will add some more seasoning like rosemary, thyme, parsley, oregano, curry, and the list goes on. So I add as much seasoning as possible because it brings out the flavor at the end of the day. At the end of the cooking, it brings out the flavor, so it makes it taste much better. And this is my paste tomato, so I will scoop it inside the pot gently. I will dump it inside here gently. Turn it around because I want all of them to mix together. The thing with making stew is that you have to constantly stand and stir it and keep on turning it around because you don't want it to burn. So meanwhile, since I have mixed the oil, the onion and tomato together, I have to add some of the spices because I really like my stew to taste good. So I don't measure it. I already know how much I can, but you can measure how much depending on the quantity of stew you are making. You can measure how much you want to, how much herbs you want to add to your stew. But herbs, you can't go overdose that. So I always like it very tasty. So I add a lot of herbs to my stew. So. And here it is, all seasoned up and bubbling. Yum. I keep on stirring it because I don't want it to burn. Sometimes I use a wooden spoon to stir because I stir fry the tomato for 25 minutes. But it all depends on how much tomato, the quantity of stew I'm making. But for this size, I'm making a stir fry for 25 minutes. And the way for me to know that it's ready, is done to add meat. It's ready to add the meat inside is when the oil separate from the tomato. So that is one of the way I know that it's ready for me to add meat inside. And even if you add too much oil, when the oil is out, you can scoop it out, scoop the oil out, so that you know that you have just the tomato down there. But make sure you don't put too much oil. So I add the meat and the fish. If I want a fresh fish inside it, I add the meat first and stir fry the meat and the stock. Oh, the stock is very tasteful. You always, whenever I'm making the meat, I always make sure that there's water in the meat, because the water is the same water is the water that I have to add in this stew, because after searing the tomato is thick. So you want to add water inside it. So I always make sure that the water I add is the broth from the chicken that I cook. Sometimes the broth is not enough, so I add a little bit more water inside it if I need to. So this is it. Since my stew is almost ready, so I already added the meat. So the next thing I will do is add the fish, and I will do that last after the meat bubble a little bit more, for about a few minutes, maybe another 15 minutes. Okay. Since I like fish so much, I also add fish to my stew. See, the stew is almost done. So now I stir it. I'm almost done. At this point, the stew is almost ready. I will let it bubble. I'll close it and let it bubble again for about. For me right now, I will let it bubble for 10 minutes. Then the stew is done. I serve it. My stew is done, so I'll serve it with white rice. This is a white cooked rice. Just put it on top of the white cooked rice and add some meat if I want some meat on top of it. So this is how I make my stew and what I eat with my stew. Sometimes I eat the stew with white boiled potato, sometimes with spaghetti, sometimes with bread, anything white. I can eat my stew, serve my stew with anything white, but most of the time I usually serve my stew with rice, white boiled rice. So what else I can do? Sometimes I tune it up, I add spinach to it. I will just show you. That's another way I serve it. I add spinach to the stew. I let the spinach boil for 2 minutes. Then I'll serve it with stew. That's another way I cook my another way I do the finished touch. This is the finished touch when I put the spinach on. Sometimes I put collard green as a finished touch. This is how it looks. It looks so nice. So this is me serving it with white rice again. So this is how I make my stew and what I use my stew to eat. One of the things I use my stew to eat. I hope you like what you saw. If you like it, please comment, subscribe, and email. So if you have any question, I will surely get back to you. Thank you for watching. Have a great day and God bless. That's my rice.